Alright guys, hi, Eric here again at Redmans Performance. What we're going to do now is we're going to install the piston rings on this Buick 215. Ourselves, the only thing that we'll use inside the shop for our engine builds are Hastings rings and total seals. This particular ring here are a set of Hastings. We will always try to use a moly based ring if at all possible. In this particular unit we're using a 2M 652 by Hastings. So let's go over how I install the rings, and then maybe this will help you guys on some installations on your own. So on the oil ring here, maybe you guys get a good view in here. Let's see here. See if I can get it in there where you guys get a view here. Maybe I can get you guys in there better that way. There you go. So anyway, there's ups and downs in there, right? So how the brake is broke off here and broke off there, that wants to go down towards the bottom of the piston. So that needs to go to the skirt side of the piston. And so when I put that on the piston, what I'll do is I will put that at about the 2 o'clock mark is where I'll put the void. So let's get you guys in here and so you guys can see how we're doing this here. See if I get a good view there for you. I can zoom in here a little bit. Okay, so let's get something to point out here. So the void inside this ring right here is going to go at this 2 o'clock mark right here, okay? So I'm going to put that right here at this 1:30, 2 o'clock mark. And then the next 2 rings that we have here are the scraper rings, or the springs. So the first ring that I'm going to put on will be the bottom ring here. That one's going to go here at the 12 o'clock mark. What I'll do is I'll start that one in there. I always go in the clockwise direction on this ring here. And then what I will do is I'll put the second ring on at 6 o'clock, and then I will rotate it in at the counterclockwise rotation. Then you'll just make sure that the ring floats in there smoothly. That'll make sure that you did not get, make sure that you did not get an overlap on these 2 rings right here. If you get an overlap, then you'll have a problem. You'll break a ring trying to install it, and or you just flat won't be able to get the piston in the hole. So next what we do is now we have our number 2 ring, and so on a Hastings ring there's going to be a dot on the number 2 ring always. And if you look here on the ring, maybe we can see this here in the picture, there's a dot right here on this ring. That's going to go up. Now on this particular ring at this time, it does not really matter where you caulk the rings. And there's 2 ways that you can install a ring on a piston. So I prefer, on this style of piston, I'll roll it. I'll start the ring there at about 3 o'clock, and then I'll do just what I did right there. And then the top ring, which is the moly ring here, there's not any dots on this ring. So basically what it's telling me is the ring itself is squared. So now what I'll do is I'll start it the same way. Alright, and so then that piston will be done. And then what I use is I use a set of rubber jaws here in my vise to hold the rod, and then that way I'm not putting any undue marks on the rod. And that seems to happen quite often too, because the magnets are not very strong. So let's open this back up. What you'll do is you'll take your piston, place it in the vise, let your piston rest down on the vise jaws, and then just snug it up. So let's run through this ring real quick, and then I'll show you the alternative way of doing rings. And it does work. I don't prefer to do them that way unless we're on a very deep, long piston. So something that maybe has 4 ring lands. Usually industrial is what we would use that method on. So we're going to look for the dot here. There's the dot, the dot's up. And we're just going to kind of wiggle that ring right onto there. We know number 1 doesn't have any dots. So then we're going to slide that one on, okay? And that's about as fast as it is to do a set of rings. So let's back you guys back out now, and you guys kind of watch from a little bit of a distance now. All right, so now we'll make it a little bit quicker, and then I'll show you a different method here on this piston. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to install the oil ring, or the control ring here at the bottom the same way. We're going to set it in there about 1:30, 2 o'clock. And then the first spring ring is going to go at 12. That ring gets rotated on there at clockwise. Second ring is going to go on there on a counterclockwise or clockwise, really doesn't matter. Just kind of more of a personal preference for you. We're going to look for our dot now on the secondary ring. Now what you can do with this ring here, and some guys like to do this, is they'll take this ring and they'll spread the ring. And so there's pros and cons to doing this. Some guys feel if you spread the ring out like that, that the ring actually will seal better in the bore. They think by rolling the ring like this, you're putting a little bit of twist or cant in that ring, and it's going to cause the ring to distort. I think the jury's out on that. I've done them both ways. I've never seemed to have a problem either way. What I don't like about doing them this way right here is usually it'll put a scratch in the piston itself. So I prefer not to put them on myself that way. I don't want to say that that's the wrong way to do it, because it's definitely not the wrong way. It's just not the way that I prefer. So if you overextend a ring now, it will definitely snap on you. So we're going to roll that ring onto there like that. And then we'll get this next one on here and we'll just roll it right back up on there. And I find by rolling them on, you can do them a little faster, get yourself in a groove. And for myself, there's just less chance of breaking a ring. I've been putting rings on now about 40 years. And believe it or not, I put on hundreds of thousands of rings in my career, and I don't think that I broke 3 or 4 rings ever installing them. I've been pretty lucky for it, or maybe I just have a knack for it. I don't know which one it is. So any of these jobs that you guys are trying to do at home though, biggest thing is just don't get in a real big hurry to do them. Want to do them a little slow. Cost a lot of money to build these motors anymore. Even if you guys are doing the assembly work on them, just the machine work and the parts alone cost a lot. This set of rings right here are probably a $100, $80 set of rings that are going on this. So, and if you break one ring, you have to buy a whole complete set. So now you got 7.5 more pistons basically laying around worth of rings that you're never probably going to use. Years ago, you used to be able to buy single ring packs, but those days are gone now. Even to just get a single piston anymore takes 2-3 weeks usually. They don't like to break sets anymore, so they come all out of the factory, straight from the manufacturer. So we're almost done putting the rings on here. After this point in time, we're going to move on to installing freeze plugs and cam bearings and cleaning the bores and installing the quick seat. So what I'll do first is I always do the quick seat, clean the bores and do the quick seat first. And the reason why I clean the bores and do the quick seat first is the quick seat has a little bit of powder there. And even after I get it massaged in, there's a little bit of excessive powder left over. That way I'm able to blow the excess powder back off when I'm done. And then what I will do is then I'll install the cam bearings. And then after I install the cam bearings, Then I will do my freeze plugs and galley plugs. And the reason for that is sometimes when you're installing a cam bearing will chafe a little bit on the way in, and you'll get a little piece of debris inside the gallery. And then this way the gallery is still open because you don't have it dammed up with a galley plug, and you're able to run a brush through it and some air and make sure that the passage is cleaned. And then after that point in time, you can put the oil galleries in it, and then you're done. And then you're ready to install the rear main and the crank. This one will have a rope rear main seal, and that's a pretty good one for everybody to learn how to do, because it seems like there's a ton of failures anymore on rope rear mains. They've kind of went by the wayside for the last 25, 30 years now. So, whoops. I hope this was helpful for you guys of understanding how to put a set of rings on a piston. Please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Eric at Redmans Performance.